What time is it, Boom?
Oh, it's game time, JB. And there is Baker Mayfield. His Bucs have won 2 in a row. They lead the NFC South. A huge game on the road today at Lambeau versus the Packers.
That's right, facing this man, Jordan Love, who has more wins and TD passes than Aaron Rodgers through 13 games of his first season as a starter. Big game.
Big AFC East game had Zach Wilson, the Jets, visiting Miami. Zach's coming off his best game of the year last week. 2 touchdowns, over 300 yards. We'll see if he can do it again today.
Tua Tagovailoa of the Miami Dolphins. He's been active this year, completing 70% of his passes, but he ought to be super sharp today. Why? Because no Tyreek Hill.
And hello, folks, and welcome to the NFL Today. It is powered by Ram Trucks. I'm James Brown, back in Studio 43, locked in with my colleagues. You know what? It was supposed to be Phil's time to introduce us, and he says, I don't want to ad-lib.
Yeah, he pushed it to next week. It's all right, Phil. We love you.
He needs a script, JB.
Oh, well, somebody at least tell me what's going on up here.
It's ad-lib. Boomer Esiason, Nate Burleson, Coach Bill Cowher, the Hall of Famer, and the beloved.
Yeah, I'm the guy you threw under the wagon.
Don't worry, you'll get me back in time, rest assured. Hey, folks, as we charge into Week 15, the playoff race is reaching a fever pitch. Every game could be the difference between glory and heartbreak. And, folks, the tension is undeniable. So let's take a look at the playoff picture. In the NFC, the Niners are in first place, and they are eyeing the NFC West title with the dub today, Boomer. Today, the Cowboys, it is, in fact, a win and in as well. Then, Nate, there are fellow division leaders, Detroit and Tampa Bay, who are locked into a heated division battle. Bill in the wild card spots. The Eagles get in with the win, and they are joined by the Vikings and Packers. But nipping at their heels are the Rams, of course, the Seahawks, the Falcons, and the Saints. In the AFC, it's a tight race as the Broncos, Steelers, Bills, and Texans are in hot pursuit of the wild card spots that are currently held by Indy, Cincinnati, Cleveland, who are keen on defending their turf. Up top, the Ravens are leading the pack, eyeing that first-round bye, while the Dolphins, Chiefs, and Jags continue to jockey for position. And, folks, there's so much to play for in these final games, Boom.
Did they pay you by the word? And by the way, Coach, hoo-day. How about those Bengals yesterday, boys? And the story out of Cincinnati has got to be Jake Browning, 3 in a row. How about this catch by T. Higgins? How about this play? Maybe the play of the year. Just the wherewithal, Nate, for a wide receiver to understand where he is on the field.
No doubt.
And to reach up and tie up the game right there. They got down by 17-3 at one point, came back, and there's the game-winning field goal by Evan McPherson. They won, but they did lose a little bit because they lost DJ Ivey, they lost DJ Reader, and, of course, Jamar Chase got hurt in this game. But the revelation of Jake Browning and what he is doing for the Cincinnati Bengals, it is the real deal. I'm telling you, I think they're going to make the playoffs now by the way that young man's playing.
No doubt about it. Speaking of games yesterday, Detroit, they answered that age-old question, which animal will win in a fight, a lion or a bronco? All jokes aside, the Lions were dominant in the air and on the ground. Check out this pass in Laporta. I mean, this young fella is out here making plays, a little 1-2 step, gets in for the touchdown, and then they can do it on the ground as well. You have Jahmyr Gibbs, who's absolutely fantastic. When he captures the sideline, that man is fast and physical. And on defense, they were smothering the Lions, playing well at the right time. Coach, remember, who you are right now in the month of December is who you will be in the playoffs.
And Aaron Glenn got after him last night, started sending some blitzes. But on the other AFC side of it, in the playoffs yesterday, the 5, 6, and 7, all backup quarterbacks. Gardner Minshew, 5-1 in these last 6 games. A defense that leads the league in takeaways. And then today, we have 2 backups playing right now. That's going to be big in AFC. Talking about playoff implications. You're talking about Case Keenum going down to Tennessee and trying to play in this game. Now, Case Keenum, this guy's a 12-year vet. C.J. Stroud's in concussion protocol. This is why they brought him in. This guy's actually won a playoff game. So having a backup quarterback today, Zach Wilson in Miami, it's going to be big to see what happens in the AFC. The year of the backup quarterback.
Yeah, good stuff. You know, Boomer, if they paid you by the word, you'd have retired 10 years ago. Just no. But look, so there's a big game later today. The Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys at the Buffalo Bills. And I want to do this and talk about it first. Let's go back to Week 5 when the Cowboys lost to the San Francisco 49ers. 42-10. Dak threw 3 interceptions. Mike McCarthy ran a very simple game plan, and they both got roasted because of that game. Well, what have they done since then? 7-1. Dak, 23 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 300 yards a game, and Mike McCarthy has got aggressive, creative on the offensive side, showing off the talent that he has with those offensive players. And last but not least, Bill, you like this, he hasn't gotten away from the running game. Still running it, keeping that play-action pass alive.
Bill Cowher said after you get past the murky part of the season, this is the time of the year where you need to be in a groove. A number of teams are indeed in that. And joining us now from the booth in Miami, where he'll be calling today's game between the Jets and the Dolphins. You know what? Are we calling him America's quarterback now? And our colleague, the one and only Tony Romo. Hey, without Tyreek Hill, who needs to step up for Miami today, Tony?
Well, everybody. I think you're obviously going to lean on the running game with Mostert and Achane, but, you know, they're not exactly chopped liver around Tyreek Hill. I mean, we all know about Waddle, and I think in the short term, you can gain advantages with this. I don't think defensive coordinators are going to have quite the beat. Wherever Tyreek lines up, you base your defense on that. So you get a short-term advantage. Obviously, if there's more than 1 week, 2, then all of a sudden they catch up to you. But I think they'll get off to a pretty good start today.
Hey, Tony, it is fair to characterize this as a roller coaster that continues for Zach Wilson after being named AFC Player of the Week. What did Zach do last week against the Texans that impressed you?
Well, I think the biggest thing that stood out was he aggressively took what the defense gave him. And, you know, that meant that if all of a sudden they're dropping very deep, he got the ball to the running back sooner than he had been before. He was holding on to the ball a lot longer. And the other part was the concerted effort by the offensive staff to come out and play action early on first down, quarterback movement. And that gave him the opportunity to throw one-on-one stuff to Garrett Wilson on the outside. And I think that they're going to try and do the same thing again.
All right. Hey, Tony, as always, the best to you guys, Jim and Tracy. Knock them alive. All right, folks. Boomer said verbalage is the word that he would use. Here comes Boomer with Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. Quickly approaching. Here are the headlines for Week 15. Baker Mayfield and the Bucs took over first place in the NFC South last week. Now they look to continue their winning ways against Jordan Love and the Packers at Lambeau. In the Music City, Texans rookie maestro C.J. Stroud, as Coach mentioned, is sidelined, so it's up to Case Keenum to keep the Texans in the playoff chase as they face Will Levis and the Titans. And later today, the Niners are rolling, folks, as they head into the desert on a 5-game win streak. That to take on Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals.
The NFL Today on CBS is powered by Ram Trucks, America's best light-duty pickup for new vehicle quality.
The NFL family is definitely committed to advancing social justice through work that reduces barriers to opportunity. Just as players inspire change in their communities, the Inspire Change Chainmaker Award, that is, recognizes community members who are working every day to advance social justice. And to learn more about each team's change maker, visit NFL.com/change. All right, folks, I'm blessed to be joined, as usual, by the man with his finger on the pulse, his eye on the league. That will be the NFL Today insider, Jonathan Jones. So, Jonathan, a couple jobs open up this past week, so what's the latest?
Yeah, so the Chargers, they fired head coach Brandon Staley and GM Tom Telesco Friday after that embarrassing loss in Vegas. The head coach job is a very impressive one, especially with Justin Herbert. They'll get a quality person for the GM role, but it has its drawbacks. A lot of salary cap issues they'll face this offseason. Question everyone around the league has is whether they'll pay to get the top candidates. Meanwhile, the Raiders owner Mark Davis, he would love to be convinced to keep interim head coach Antonio Pierce and GM Champ Kelly. They have a real chance to lose the interim tag with more games like Thursday night. And JB, one job that isn't open yet, New England. Belichick is likely coaching his final games there. Will he resign, retire, get fired, get traded? Sources believe he wants to keep coaching, and this may be a mutual parting of ways. He won't have to give up a draft pick at his new team, and the Patriots can start fresh, bringing in new philosophies into the building.
No surprise that the Jets are going to have to make some decisions in that quarterback room. What are you hearing?
Yeah, the Jets have to decide by Wednesday whether they'll activate Aaron Rodgers to the 53-man roster, and there's a very real chance that they will. But that doesn't mean he'll play this year. Sources tell me one scenario is that Rodgers is on the roster, but is inactive on game days. He'd keep practicing with the team at no increased risk, but it's still deeply unlikely he's going to play again this season. Still, a remarkable return. I heard from one source at practice who was watching Rodgers who was muttering to himself, "Holy bleep."
Too dark to blush, but I am now. Last week's offsides call on Kadarius Toney put officiating under the microscope. My goodness, so what response is there from the league?
Yeah, so on Wednesday, I asked Roger Goodell for his thoughts on officiating generally and the Kadarius Toney offside play specifically. He said he found it ironic that he's having to answer a question about a call that was absolutely the right call. Overall, Goodell said the officials do an extraordinary job. And this week, the league fined Andy Reid $100,000 for his critical comments on the refs after the Bills game Sunday. And Patrick Mahomes, he was docked $50,000 for his comments and actions toward the officials at the end of the game. And JB, some breaking news here. Jalen Hurts, he's been added to the injury report as questionable with an illness. He's been sick. He's flying with the team separately for the Eagles game Monday night against Seattle, but I think he's going to play.
Wow, we wish him the best for sure. As always, thank you, Jonathan. Big time indeed. All right, folks, you can't help but notice that Baker Mayfield is playing with a certain swagger as of late, and that has the Buccaneers in prime position to win the division. And now with the playoffs in sight, we'll see how dangerous Baker and the Bucs can really be. Hopefully, he's going to be better.
Mayfield looking to throw on first down. Has Evans. Touchdown, Tampa. Baker Mayfield. A strike. Baker Mayfield putting him on his back. Mayfield to the end zone. It is caught. Otten. Touchdown. Tampa Bay has won it here in Atlanta. Baker Mayfield has done it again.
All right, we have the Buccaneers and the Packers, and Baker Mayfield has been finding his rhythm, like we've talked about, playing mistake-free football.
Yes.
Well, let's take a look at the NFC South. All right, so you have the Bucs. They hold a tiebreaker over the Falcons and the Saints to lead the NFC South. Boom. This is a big game.
That's right. Baker Mayfield's led his team to 2 straight wins. They're on the road now, and he's only thrown 3 interceptions on the road this season, 14 touchdown passes. Last week, Mike Evans only got targeted or caught 1 pass targeted 6 times.
Yeah.
I would think early and often they're going to try to get him into the game, the future Hall of Famer. So look for Baker Mayfield to try to find his superstar wide receiver.
And on the other side right now, Antoine Winfield Jr. has had a Pro Bowl type of year. He's got 4 sacks. He's got 4 forced fumbles, 11 PBUs. He is the quarterback of that defense if they want to sit there and try to shut down, again, this Green Bay team.
You know, looking at Jordan Love, first off, everybody's going to start for the Green Bay Packers on the offensive side are drafted by the Green Bay Packers, and he has 4 wide receivers picked in the first and second round in the high draft picks. They're in their first or second year, so times are looking good ahead for the Green Bay Packers, and I like what Matt LaFleur is doing on offense.
Yeah, let's take a look at the NFC North. Okay, so you have the Packers. They are bringing up the rear end on that wild card spot, but they're right in the thick of things right now. This is going to be good. We'll see what the Lions did last night, but let's look at this Texans and Titans matchup. I mean, this is going to be a good one.
And you know what this is right in your face, Houston, because Tennessee is doing Throwback Sunday.
That's right.
Wearing the old Houston Oilers uniforms, and we got Mike Vrabel out there with the Bum Phillips cowboy hat and everything else going on. Big loss by Indianapolis yesterday. No C.J. Stroud for the Houston Texans, and their 2 top wide receivers are missing, Coach.
Yeah, missing Nico Collins and making Tank Dell, but this is Case Keenum. This is a 12-year vet. This is what they brought him in for. Of all the backup quarterbacks we've been talking about, Case Keenum has actually won a playoff game. So this is the game that he needs to go lean on Dameon Pierce, Devin Singletary. You may not have your receivers, but you have the wisdom of this guy going on a road game in the division.
You know, the Tennessee Titans, Will Levis completing 58% of his passes, which is really low in today's world. Why is that? Well, because he throws it down the field. He fits Mike Vrabel, what he wants perfectly. Let's run the football, be explosive, throwing it down the field. And Will Levis, he's been doing that. Brings a little personality and energy to the
Yeah, they're trying to play the spoilers. And you talked about Will Levis throwing the ball downfield. DeAndre Hopkins is the guy. Listen, since Will Levis took over, DeAndre Hopkins scored 6 touchdowns. So you know the young quarterback is looking for the veteran wide receiver who's been doing this thing.
Not for nothing. Those uniforms, they give me the hives.
Oh, come on.
Bad memories from Houston days.
Well, here we go. We have NFL Slime Time. See who's going to join Lamar Jackson and Tylan Wallace and taking home the slimiest trophy in sports, the MVP. Tap in to NFL Slime Time every Wednesday night at 7:30 Eastern on Nickelodeon and available Thursday on Paramount Plus. And there's Mike Vrabel. You're talking about this, Boom? Yeah. He's wearing the 10-gallon hat. Maybe a little tribute to Bum Phillips. Yes, you're right. The Tennessee Titans are wearing the Houston's Oilers throwback jersey.
In your face.
This is the good. Hey, JJ Watt, I'm sorry. I know you don't like it.
Yeah. JJ hates it.
Still to come on the NFL Today. The playoff race is heating up. The Cowboys and Bills are ready to battle it out in Buffalo. Who will be riding high when the clock hits 0? Evan Washburn caught up with 49ers wide receivers Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. Wait until you hear who they think is their biggest hurdle on the road to the Super Bowl. It's been a roller coaster ride for quarterbacks in New York this year, and now that Tommy DeVito has taken the city by storm, can he keep things rolling for Big Blue in the Big Apple? All that and more when the NFL Today continues on CBS, home of Super Bowl 58.
Kickoff is just around the corner, which means it's time for our Week 15 FanDuel Best Bets, Boomer and Phil.
All righty, JB, it's a big divisional matchup for the Dolphins this week against the Jets. So give me the NFL's touchdown leader, Raheem Mostert, to score a touchdown this week. And for Jets running back Breece Hall to make a difference in the passing game like he does every week for the Jets with at least 27 receiving yards.
Boomer, I want to give some props to the Rams this week. Give me Matthew Stafford to throw for 3 touchdowns and for Cooper Kupp to make it 3 straight games with a touchdown.
I like it, 3 touchdown passes. All right, score this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. FanDuel is the official partner of the NFL. JB.
All right, folks, get ready to party with Super Bowl 58. Las Vegas lights up with Steve Aoki on the 1s and 2s for football's most anticipated night. February 11th promises nonstop action and electrifying vibes. Hey, folks, join the celebration, feel the excitement, and be part of the legend only on CBS.
Here we go. Touchdown. Brandon Cook. Touchdown. CD Lamb.
Dak's playing the best football of his career. Their offense has just been something to behold.
It's Lamb.
And the Cowboys have their 3rd takeaway of the game.
This defense could go down as one of the best ever.
Allen back to pass. James Cook leaps into the end zone. Stephon Diggs. Touchdown. Allen falls into the end zone. Josh Allen, the beast, has been released.
Bills are going to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Hey, folks, you know, these two squads have faced off in a couple of Super Bowls, and today is of utmost importance for both of these teams, with the Bills trying to stay in the playoff hunt and the Cowboys looking to get that coveted first-round bye.
All right, guys, so who are the Cowboys on the road? That's what we're going to find out today up in Buffalo. Look, you take a look at these playoffs, you take a look at these seedings, you know where Dallas is. They're right on the heels of San Francisco. Detroit, their huge win last night. Green Bay trying to fight their way back into it. Dallas has a very difficult schedule finishing the season. Philadelphia, a much easier schedule, and it starts today on the road in Buffalo.
You know, the Dallas Cowboys going up to Buffalo. We got 2 quarterbacks that are very productive. Josh Allen leads the NFL in total touchdowns, and Dak Prescott leads the NFL in passing TDs. What can we say about Dak Prescott that we don't know? He's playing as good as he ever has in his whole career, throwing the football better than I've ever seen him throw, throws with power, accuracy, getting outside the pocket more, moving. And the last thing, even in his interviews and with the players, you can see how much they believe in him and how much confidence this guy has.
Yeah, he's the leader in the clubhouse when it comes to the MVP race, but he's not doing it alone. Of course, we want to point to CD Lamb, who has separated himself as a #1 wide receiver, but it's the collective for this offense. I mean, they got it all. I mean, they have the big guys, the small guys. They still have the quick guys. Cooks is still cooking, and they also have tight end play. I just love the variety and the balance in this receiving group for the Dallas Cowboys.
Ferguson has become a go-to target.
No doubt.
But to Josh Allen, look what he's done. Leads the league in touchdowns, but under Joe Brady, these last 3 games when he took over as coordinator, they are averaging 28 points a game. And the other thing they're doing, they're running the football. They're running the football for 140 yards a game, more balance in that offense. And for that guy right there, Josh Allen, in the 4th quarter, running the ball, passing the ball, that man wants the ball in his hands, and he'll take the ball in the 4th quarter, and he'll make first downs. He's that type of guy.
He's a gamer.
And in prime time tonight, the Ravens and Jags face off with both squads jockeying for playoff position.
Yeah, let's take a look at the AFC playoff picture. I mean, we know who's sitting at the top, the big dogs right now, Baltimore Ravens, old school football. I mean, but it gets a little crazy when it comes to the wild card spots and the teams that are in the hunt, as we've been talking about all show long. I mean, but the Jags, I mean, who are you? We've seen them play well this season, and then we've seen them drop the ball, as we like to say it in football. The Baltimore Ravens, I mean, they also look really good, too, and I'm not counting them out at any time soon.
Oh, no, you can't count him out because Lamar Jackson and everything around him, he now has the skill group to get it done. And the other thing is, too, you got to be careful rushing Lamar Jackson. Why? You got to keep him in the pocket because once he gets out, he's as dynamic runner as he is a thrower. And let me just say, this is not overstepping or anything and making a great example. Lamar Jackson has the quickest release in the NFL as a quarterback.
They got complimentary on the other side is his defense. Second in yards, second in points. They lead the league in sacks with 15 different players, led by Justin Madubuike. And you talk about him, he's had at least a half a sack in 10 straight games. Mike McDonald, the coordinator, is complimenting this offense with Lamar Jackson.
Great job. All right, how about the Jacksonville Jaguars? Who are they? Nate asked. I want to know who they are. I want to know who Trevor Lawrence is. Trevor Lawrence last week looked like he missed a lot of practice because of that ankle injury. Good news for him, he did practice this week, so he'll be a lot sharper today than he was against the Browns. I just don't know about their defense and whether or not they're going to be good enough to slow down Lamar Jackson and this offensive assault that Phil was just talking about.
And Phil, you do not engage in hyperbole. The quickest release in the game by Lamar.
Am I right or wrong? I mean, if you just...
You're right, he gets rid of it. That flick of the wrist.
Flick that wrist
real.
and get it downfield.
And with kickoff just about a half hour away, folks, time now to set the scene at your game as we take you out first on the field. That's presented by Smirnoff for the latest news and updates on your matchup. And we have a couple of NFC matchups coming up at 4 Eastern. Kyler Murray and the Cods play host to the red-hot San Francisco 49ers. And the Commanders visit La La Land, take on Matthew Stafford. Nate knows all about him and the L.A. Rams.
You know, I know we're going to talk a little bit about the 49ers a little bit later on, but I got to say, Dak Prescott right there MVP race, and so is Brock Purdy. He is right there. They are neck and neck, and depending on how the Baltimore Ravens finish with Lamar Jackson, he may be in that conversation as well. But the 49ers are going to be impossible for the Arizona Cardinals to stop today.
Yeah, and when you're talking about the NFC West, Matthew Stafford, I mean, what can we say about him that hasn't been said? If we look at the numbers will impress you. You look at his plays, he can throw from any pivot, and he still has that strong arm. He can grip it and rip it. One thing we don't talk about enough is how tough he is. I've seen this dude bounce back from injuries that would sit your best quarterbacks down for months. I mean, 10 out of his 14 seasons, he didn't miss a game, and that's why he was banged up throughout those seasons.
You know, we sat there and watched this all week, and he's impressive. He still looks young, and they rely on the running game. And Kyron Williams is a back right now that gives them something in a running game, which sets up all that play action that they love to do with Matthew Stafford. He's averaging 5 yards a carry. When he's in the game, you better take away the running game first, and that sets up everything else for all their receivers.
Well, I love the way you've turned into a quarterback guy these last days. You know, Nate, you played with Matt Stafford for 4 years.
Yep.
Say he's tough, that's an understatement, the way he can throw the football. But here's what I love about him. He's not worried about his numbers. You know, he's not the guy, oh, I'm careful, I haven't hit a pass, and he throws 1, 2. It's always being aggressive decision maker, and he's an aggressive thrower.
And he's a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer.
I'm so glad about Brock Purdy. All these nonsensical, fabricated conversations about him.
That's right. And there's Mike Evans. He's right behind Jerry Rice with one of the best records as receiver.
Hall of Fame.
Time now for pregame HQ delivered by Domino's.
Brock Purdy delivers the mail right on the money.
The great Tigger is having a game.
Ayuk is on fire. It is Bob Bennett.
CMC.
Absolute beast, Deebo Samuel.
Touchdown. San Francisco.
The 49ers have done it again.
1, 2, 3.
There is absolutely no doubt that the 49ers are firing on all cylinders as they ride their 5-game win streak into Arizona today. Evan Washburn caught up with wideouts Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk this week to discuss San Francisco's formidable offense as well as a second-year MVP candidate who's throwing them the football.
Touchdown! San Francisco! Let's go!
This offense is building something special. What's it like to play in this offense, Brandon?
Right now, super fun. Super fun. like every single week. As a pass catcher or anybody really on this offense, we know we have a chance. Go out there and do exactly what we want to do.
Like BA said, like this is probably the most fun that we've had in this offense. You never know who's going to go off. Start with blocking.
How do you defend when receivers and tight ends can block in the open field like the 49ers?
What a block.
I mean, it's just a selfless team, and at the end of the day, we just want to win.
I'm so glad you brought up blocking. So I want to talk to this guy about blocking. That run on the first play of last week's game against the Seahawks, when McCaffrey goes for 72, and you see Brandon just streaking downfield to get that extra block in. How much pride do you take in that aspect of your game?
A whole lot, much. Our whole entire unit super prideful when it comes to blocking. We don't want to ever have any of our guys, as our assignment on any play, make any tackles, or be the reason why we're picking up one of our brothers instead of meeting him in the end zone.
Kyle Shanahan, how would you describe his style? I'm curious what your first thought there was. You got a smile on your face, and then you look to your buddy.
Calm, cool. He really is until he's not.
When it comes to like play calling and stuff, it's all about being in the right position, being detailed, being where you're supposed to be. And like if you don't do those things, you'll see a whole different person.
Is he as much of a football genius as he appears to be? Is that how you view it?
Yeah, man, like the way he draw it up and like how detailed it is, like it's just crazy. And like just going back to my rookie year, like it was so hard for me to like figure out everything just happening and how fast it was happening and stuff like that. So now I'm just looking at it like it's like second nature to us.
Fall asleep for 1 second, one minor detail can be the reason why one play is stopped for a negative 2 yard or no yards. That should have been a 65-yard touchdown.
What a throw from Brock Purdy. Couldn't throw that ball any better.
Brock Purdy's having an unbelievable season. The numbers say one thing, but everybody seems to have an opinion about Brock Purdy. Why do you think that is?
It ain't our fault that we got the team that we have and Brock is the quarterback. At the end of the day, Brock still got to go out there, make plays, make the right read, and throw the ball. And I think he do an outstanding job at that. So all that other stuff supposed to be talking about, like, I don't get it.
Don't talk about baby.
You guys sit currently as the 1 seed in Week 15 here. What comes to mind when you think about who stands in your way of your eventual goal, Biba?
This might sound a little crazy, but I think that we are our biggest opponent. I think if you just look at the style of play and the level that we're playing at right now, I think the only team that can beat us is us.
I'd agree with that. I haven't seen a football play the way that we play. We feel like our time is now.
When I say Vegas, you think what?
Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
Yo, that was some pretty insightful stuff from those guys. No doubt about that.
Unbelievable.
Hey, and a huge thank you to Evan, Debo, and Brandon for taking the time to sit down with us. And folks, there's no question. Nate, talk about a dynamic receivers room and selfless.
Yeah, this duo right here will join the list of dynamic duels that we've seen in 49ers uniforms. And here's the thing, don't be fooled by Debo's numbers. He missed 2 games, which they lost, by the way, which shows you how important he is. But look at Brandon Ayuk, over 1,000 yards, and these guys together, they are special. But I can show you better, I can tell you. So here we go. We have Kyle Juszczyk. He's going in motion. They recognize that they're bumping out, which means it's zone. Under route by Debo. He does what he does, turns into a running back, sheds a tackle, and gets upfield. He's so big, so explosive. And look at George Kittle blocking downfield. Once again, pay attention to the motion. What does it do? Allows your quarterback and your receiver to see the defense. You have Brandon Ayuk running in motion. Nobody runs with him. They try to bump out. And then you have George Kittle screaming across the field. He's opening up. And then you have dig route by Brandon Ayuk right over the middle. He's the guy that can take the top off the coverage. Which you take the top off of something, a jar, what happens? It opens up. That's why this offense constantly opens up. That motion with these playmakers, it's tough to stop, Coach.
Yeah, you sit there and said, how would you defend it? So I went back to the 3-game loss that they had in the middle of the season, 6, 7, and 8, and you walked with that. And I thought the team that played them the best were the Cleveland Browns, because what's this offense about? It's about motion. Okay. It's about the running game. It's about play action. So here's my.
So how do you stop it?
Here's the keys to it. Number one, what you have to do is you have to have 8-man boxes. It starts with McCaffrey. Make no mistake about it. You have to start McCaffrey. Okay. If you don't do that, nothing else happens.
All right.
Number 2 is you have to be able to play man-to-man, which all that motion. When you want to do motion, Nate, because they try to keep you in zone.
That's
zone
right.
creates windows. So you have to be able to play man-to-man periodically.
For sure.
And don't let the motion deter you. And number 3, you better move Purdy off the spot.
Yeah.
Because you know what? This guy can process information. It's a very rhythmic passing game.
Yeah.
And when he's into a rhythm,
Move him off that
you
pivot.
can't stop it. Let me give you a couple shots from that
show
first
me.
game against Cleveland. So right here, they're going to motion. I got to get my 8th man in the box. So we just slide over, count it. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8. And now what you got to do is beat the receiver blocks. Beat him inside. Right here. You beat him inside. Everyone replaces.
Fill the gaps.
Every gap, you got to be very sound in the running game. There we go, right here. They want to go motion, I go man-to-man. Because the other thing
He's running with him, Coach.
He's running with them, and look on that for him. I got 5 rushers. You want to try to go empty. I'm coming after you. I want Purdy to get a little bit uncomfortable.
You got to move him.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit of hesitation. So you want to blitz him. You want to play man. You got to mix up zone. You cannot say in one thing. This is a very good offense. And you look at these guys right up here. They have got a lot of playmakers.
A defense has to have those type of playmakers, though, Coach.
Yeah, and you be patient, and sometimes it may not be enough.
You know what? A film session with the two of you is just hilarious. I'm loving it. All right, folks, and for more on the Niners offense, and I love what Deebo Samuel to say. All this talk about Brock Purdy, I don't get it. They don't get it either. Let's go over to our 2 quarterbacks who do get it.
You know what, JB? It's game manager, and that's what really ticks us off. It's really kind of a backhanded compliment. It's a little bit of an insult talking about Brock Purdy and what he's done. Now, none of this surprises me because I saw this back in the late 80s and the early 90s. It was Bill Walsh. It was Joe Montana. They had Jerry Rice. They had John Taylor. They had Roger Craig. They had Tom Rathman. They had Brent Jones. And this 49er team, Phil, looks exactly like that 49er team.
Well, you said it's a backhanded compliment, but also it's saying, hey, the team's really good, but you're just not that good. You're along for the ride. And listen, I got to tell you the truth. I kind of felt that way early when Brock Purdy was out there putting up these numbers, winning. But look, we got enough evidence. It's more than just him riding along with a team. He's created situations. And you talk about game managers. Let me say this real quick. Here you are as a quarterback. It's first quarter, 0-0. The guy's running across the field, wide receiver. It's tight coverage, but you rip it in there. Then we come to the fourth quarter. You're leading by 10 points. Yeah. Our defense is playing well. Same play comes up. He's open, we think, but we got to make a great throw. We don't because we know we're trying to shorten the game, not make a mistake, and manage the game for the coach, for the team, and do the right thing.
You know what? He's right there in the MVP race. I don't care what anybody says. That's how good this young man is playing. And speaking of MVPs, how about Aaron Rodgers? Could there be a Christmas present underneath the Jet fan Christmas tree, Phil?
It could be. We don't know.
I don't think so. No. Anyway, he still looks good.
Oh, yeah! The NFL Today is sponsored by WeatherTech. Auto, home, pets. Find your fits at WeatherTech.com. FanDuel. Make every moment more. And by Brown Trucks. Built to serve.
Packers quarterback Jordan Love surprised law enforcement officers at the Lights of Christmas event that at Lambeau Field. That's where officers receive giveaway bags to distribute to their communities. And you know what? It's been a roller coaster of a season for Zach Wilson. That's an accurate title. Just in the last 2 weeks, he went from being 3rd on the depth chart to the AFC Player of the Week. And Wilson's journey is just the latest in the saga of the New York quarterbacks. As a matter of fact, Wilson's counterpart for the Giants, Tommy DeVito, was also named Player of the Week for his respective conference. The undrafted rookie has a city buzzing for the quarterback affectionately known as what?
Tommy. That's...
The Tommy DeVito experience is incredible.
The guy's a natural. He throws a great ball.
And DeVito's thrown his 3rd touchdown pass of the game.
This kid is spirited.
I mean, I'm all in with this guy.
What a throw by DeVito.
Tommy Colors, man. He's a star. My boy DeVito, that's the truth right
New
there.
York sports fans, Tommy DeVito is our savior.
Tommy does the Italian thing.
All this cat does is win games.
DeVito goes to the end zone. Touchdown, Giants. What a win by the Giants.
This kid is bringing it to the table.
He's legit. It ain't over for the Giants yet. This will forever be known as the Tommy DeVito season.
You know what? This kid certainly has shown some moxie. Hey, by the way, Boomer's had a pretty good week this past week because...
Oh, he was happy. The New York quarterbacks played well, so he didn't have to defend them and talk about them all the time. But, hey, Tommy DeVito, look, 4 years at Syracuse. I saw him in high school. I saw him up at Syracuse, followed him, and then he transfers to the University of Illinois his last year. Got great experience, had a really good year. And I will say this, it surprised me, his arm, his accuracy, the strength of it, but the mobility. I think that's what really caught me off guard. I didn't know if I saw it in high school or in college, but I've seen it more in the NFL.
You know, I think I look at Tommy DeVito, his last 3 games, he's got 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's won 3 straight after losing his first 2. And then today, he's going to get Darren Waller back. He's created a little bit of his connection with Wan'Dale Robinson, with Jalen Hyatt, some young players right now. And as you can see right there, give me a little bit more.
You know what?
You got Darren Waller comes back today.
Yeah.
And Saquon running the ball. That's a great combination right now they have going on.
It really is. Sorry, I just want to say this real quick, Nate. What he has done, Tommy DeVito, he's bought himself time in the NFL. He's going to be on a team, most like the Giants, of course, next year. But we've seen what he's done, and it's going to play for it.
No doubt about it, man. I was in Harlem yesterday. I saw some black dudes on the corner. They was like, hey. And Tommy DeVito was doing his thing.
Nate, definitely catches you off guard. Hey, folks, the other quarterback in New York, Zach Wilson, is leading his squad into Miami. That for a showdown with the Dolphins in just a few moments. Boom.
You don't know how to react to that.
That means he's doing his thing.
He's doing his thing, okay. So anyway, Zach Wilson, the story of the year for the Jets has been up and down, up and down, up and down. And as we just pointed out, 2 weeks in an NFL is an eternity. And he was the AFC Player of the Week last week. I didn't feel like they got a lot of pushback from the Houston Texans last week because of all the injuries that they had. So he finally found a rhythm in the second half. And today he's going to go up against a Dolphin team that will put points on the board.
Yeah.
So I want to see him come out and play a consistent, clean game. No bad throws, no bad decisions, and certainly no interceptions.
Right about that, because he has a defense that he can lean on. Speaking of that defense, it's going to be tough for this Miami Dolphins offense to do what they do best. You know, you don't have Tyreek Hill. You do have Jalen Waddle. He's going to step up. They are the best in-cut route running team. So I expect them to have some double moves based off of those routes, because you have a very opportunistic secondary with the Jets that can jump those in-cutting routes. So let's see what happens. It's going to be a little cat and mouse with Sauce Gardner in that defense.
It will be. I'll tell you right now, but Tua's got to be careful, because Sauce Gardner right now, this defense, they are hot. They've had 31 straight games without allowing 300 yards passing. And, you know, I mean, Miami's 4-3 these last 7 games. So they started off hot, 6-1. But these last 7 games, they've been very average. Remember 3 weeks ago, they played this Miami team. Remember that return at the end of the first half?
Yep.
Kind of a debacle we had here in the Jets Stadium.
Right.
So I'll tell you what, this is a divisional game. This is going to be a hard-fought game. You watch.
It's going to be interesting. I would say this for the New York Jets and Zach Wilson. If you play him the way you did last year, especially last week, and especially in the second half, he will have success. He is not a quarterback that's going to take the 5-step drop and stay in a tight pocket. The deeper you get him, the more the defensive line spreads. He was able to get out and move around when he did that. And also it gives receivers a time to get down the field.
Yeah.
And that's his strength, throwing it down the field and moving and running. So let's see if the Jets can do that today.
So let's stay right here. Upset special.
Hey. I mean, listen, I'm glad I didn't grow up here if this Italian food is so good. But I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys over the Buffalo Bills today.
I'm going to take the Chicago Bears over Cleveland. The Chicago's won 3 of their last 4, and Matt Eberflus has got this team heading in the right direction.
I think Tommy Cutlets is for real. I'm going with Tommy Cutlets and the Giants over the New Orleans Saints.
All right, boys. Hold on to your hats. I'm going to go to the Carolina Panthers over the Atlanta Falcons.
Say what?
Our tickets are going for $1 a piece. Here you go. Everybody's going to be asleep.
$1?
Yes.
For those of you getting the 4 o'clock game today, folks, we will be right back with more after a quick timeout. I'm going to hang out with Nate for a little while. And for the rest of you, kickoff is just a few moments away.
And we will get you out to your game next.
The NFL Today on CBS is powered by Ram Trucks, America's best light-duty pickup for new vehicle quality.
Coming up at 4 Eastern right here on CBS, Brock Purdy and the Niners looking for their 6th straight dub. That's when they visit Kyler Murray and the Cardinals and Matthew Stafford. Nate's already put a face on him. The Rams, they try to stay in the playoff race. That's when they host the Washington Commanders. Time now for Game Day Delivery presented by Amazon. And speaking of Stafford, many wanted to write him off. the veteran that is, but he's really turned it on the last few weeks.
Yeah, who didn't think when the year was over last year that Matt Stafford, it might be time to, call it a career? Do the Rams want to move on? And the answer is, look what he's done here the last 3 games. 2 wins, 1 loss. Points a game, over 34. Completion percentage, wow, that's high for him because he likes to take chances down the field. And passing yards. Look, Nate, you said it during the show, or you've already said it. He's tough. He can make all the throws. He's not looking for completions. He's looking for the best play. And I don't know, if he plays 5 more years, there's one thing that he'll outlast. It'll outlast him, and that's that right arm.
Yeah.
That right arm ain't ever going to give out.
You're right about that.
And I think he's shown everybody, too, Sean McVay and that organization and fans around the NFL, he's good for a couple more years.
Sean, everyone looked at the Rams this year as kind of a rebuild. All of a sudden, you're sitting there looking. They've won 3 of their last 4 games. The only one they lost was that overtime punt return to the Baltimore Ravens. And I'll tell you what Sean McVay has done with that offensive line. He has revamped that offensive line. It's a top 10 offense. You're talking about Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua. All of a sudden, you get a draft pick that comes out there and compliments Cooper Kupp. And so, I mean, it is really a team that, I'll tell you, they get in the playoffs, they could be dangerous.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I'll speak big picture for Matt Stafford, and this isn't because I played with him. He's a Hall of Famer.
No,
plain and simple. We're talking 1 of 7 quarterbacks with 40-plus TDs in a season. He's had a 5,000-yard season. He had a 500-yard game. He can put up numbers.
Got a Super Bowl victory.
Super Bowl victory.
Yes.
2 of the best receiving seasons, Cooper Kupp and Calvin Johnson. Yep. Matt Stafford was your quarterback. Yeah. He's sitting right outside at number 11 when it comes to yards and TDs. He's going to be in the top 10 in all the major statistical categories. And like you said, Phil, he's going to continue to play a few more years. I just feel like we need to start having that conversation. For so long, he is in Detroit, underappreciated, but right now we are looking at one of the best passers of his generation.
I believe they're going to make the playoffs. I believe that there will be a wild card. You look at their schedule, they have a really good chance of winning their next 3 games. Their final game is against San Francisco. We don't know whether or not San Francisco will need that game or not.
Yeah.
I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but when I think of Brock Purdy and what he is doing, like Phil and I were just talking about, we're so sick and tired of hearing about game manager, this, that, and everything. He's got to process the game. He processes it perfectly. He's got the right head coach. He's averaging 9.9 yards per attempt. Now, if he actually ends up with that number, he will set an NFL record that is currently held by Matt Ryan. And who was Matt Ryan's offensive coordinator when he did that?
Kyle Shanahan.
So, when I watch football games, there isn't a more enjoyable game to watch than one that the 49ers are playing in, because they run the ball effectively. It's play actions, it's screen game, and they also have a top 5 defense. That is a football team that is put together really well by John Lynch.
Well, you just told me a team that should win the Super Bowl.
Right, exactly.
When you look at teams and you think who's got a chance to win the Super Bowl, it's always the teams, I think, that have many ways to get it done. And the 49ers can rush the passer. They got tremendous speed on the defensive side, which always can cover up some errors. They got a good offensive line. We never talk about it, how good their offensive line can be. And, the creativity. I mean, Kyle Shanahan is one of these guys, probably about 2 hours before the game, he's having a meeting. Hey, guys, I got another play. We got to put this
yeah.
And I don't think I'm exaggerating either. So.
Yeah.
Tremendous job of coaching by him.
It is, and it's out there. We talked about the eye vision, trying to stop him. And I sat there, started watching the film, and thinking, "Wow, this will be hard." Because what they really can do to all the things we talk about: run the football, the play action game, the motion that kind of really distracts the defense is really hard to go against. But I tell you, they're going against a team today with Kyler Murray, who's trying to prove he is the quarterback of the future.
Don't get caught slipping.
I'm just telling you, the Kyler Murray and this Arizona team, there's one of those points. He can make plays. He can have one of these things and dynamic things that you can't really prepare for until you get out there in this game. So this may be a lot closer game than you think.
Yeah, and Brock Purdy belongs in the MVP conversation.
100%. And by the way, the Bengals played them really tough. Lou Anarumo and their defense played the 49ers really, really tough.
Right about that.
I'm so glad that on both ends with the eye visions with all 4 of you guys, we have rewritten the definition of what a game manager is.
True.
And we heard it from Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. Hey, folks, that'll do it for us. We'll see you back at 4.